This week's Torah portion is Parshat Kedoshim. Kedoshim means to be holy, to sanctify yourself. And the Torah beseeches from us, Kedoshim tiyu ki kadosh ani Hashem Elokechem. Be holy because I, the Lord, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, is holy as well. But what exactly does it mean to be holy? How do we accomplish this? In fact, when I reflected upon my past Divrei Torah that I have shared on video, I asked this question almost every single year. But it is important to offer an answer, a response, because it seems to be the key to our survival, not only as a nation, but as individuals in a Jewish people. Rav Shimon Shkup offers a tremendous insight, and I saw this in Bedarkei Parsha from Rav Moti Greenberg. And he says as follows: what it means to be kadosh is no longer to think of yourself, but to think of the klal, to think of a nation. How exactly do my actions, or how will they impact the people around me, the nation around me? How will I affect my surroundings? How will I improve the people who are affected, hopefully by me, in a positive way, by positivity, constructively, morally, ethically, instilling and infusing within a people as individuals fibers of being able to connect with God based on my behavior. And he says that Kedusha, the reason why this is what it means to be holy, is based on a Kadosh Baruch Hu. Ki kadosh ani Hashem Elokechem. For I, Hashem, is holy. How does God exhibit holiness in this world? By demonstrating, if you may, that He is not or has not created the world for His own purpose, but Olam Chesed Yibaneh. He has created a world of kindness, compassion, consideration, empathy. When we behave in such a way that we demonstrate that the world too is but a conduit for us to express empathy, consideration, and kindness, we emulate God. We infuse the world with Kedusha. Rav Shimon Shkup explains that it's very interesting. Originally, the Torah says when the Mishkan was constructed, the Kruvim, these cherubs that sat on top of the Aron Kodesh in the heart of the Mishkan of the tabernacle, it says in the Torah in Shmot, Upneihem ish el achiv. They faced each other. But then in Divrei Hayamim, later on it says, during the time of Shlomo, Upneihem el habayit. They did not face each other, but they faced the confines of the construct, of the Mishkan, the tabernacle itself. What is the difference? What happened? And the Chazal explain, the Gemara actually says, when Bnei Yisrael osin et ritzono shel makom, when they do the will of God, Pneihim ish el achiv, they face each other. When they don't do the will of God, Pneihem el habayit. The Kruvim, these cherubs, these angelic figures, no longer face each other, but they face the confines, the construct of the outside of the tabernacle, and not to one another. Rav Shimon Shkup explains that that was one of the problems that existed and that resulted in this behavior of the cherubs, if you may. When Bnei Yisrael are doing the will of God, that means that they're looking after one another, demonstrating Kedusha, holiness in this world vis-a-vis their actions, looking out for one another. That's Pneihem ish el achiv. They look at each other. But when Pneihem el habayit, when they are no longer concerned with one another, when they are no longer considerate to one another, Pneihem el habayit. They are just looking after their house, they're looking after their exteriors, they're looking after their physical manifestations, and no longer concerned within their compassion. Why is Kedusha so important? This past week we commemorated Yom HaShoah. This coming week we will commemorate Yom HaZikaron. And often the people who have died, perished, been murdered, treacherously destroyed during the course of our generations. In the Holocaust, the Yom HaZikaron, certainly in reflection of October 7th this past year, and the people who continue to suffer. We call them Kedoshim, holy people. El Malei Rachamim, in that tefillah that we say for fallen people, for people who have been butchered, murdered, terrorized, and persecuted, we call them HaKadoshim Be'atorim. Those are the holy people. Why are they Kedoshim? Because hopefully as a result of their death, they have continued to propagate and demonstrate, perpetuate, and answer in this world. They have been able to infuse this world with Kedusha, with a purpose, with empathy and consideration for more people around them. They have been able to demonstrate, even vis-a-vis their death, that Pneihem ish el achiv, that they are concerned with mankind in some form or fashion. This is something that I've learned personally with regards to Gila as well. This past week, I went to speak in a high school, and one of the girls came over to me afterwards, and she said, "You don't know who I am, but I want you to know that Gila was friendly with my sister. And when she would come over to my house, She would always, of all of my sister's friends, she would always come over to me, the younger sister, the reject, the person who was left outside in the periphery. She would always come over to me and speak to me and ask me, how am I? How are you doing? How are things going? She always had an interest in me, and that made an impact in my life. It made such a difference when she told me that. That's what it means to infuse the world with Kedusha. And through our actions, and through what we continue to do in Gila's name, it has that effect as well. I share with you the following comment after I offered a lecture on behalf of Gila's Way, Li'ilui Nishmat Gila Hamer, Zal, Zichronah Levracha. Thank you for all that you do. I'm sure Gila is so proud of what her father is doing. You are bringing Gila alive through this so special. I'm sure she is looking down and saying, Abba, Abba, keep going. She is beseeching HaKadosh Baruch Hu on your behalf for your success and for Gila's Way's success in bringing her message and her words alive. Kol HaKavod. That's exactly what Kedusha is, to bring that message alive through a person, whether they be alive or whether they be deceased, but continue to be alive spiritually. This is Kedoshim to you. The Kedoshim and the Teorim who have fallen and who we perpetuate their memory and commemorate their memory this week. We should remember that it's not only a memory of the past, but we should continue to somehow embrace their messages so that we can infuse them within our communities, within our lives, for the sake of our future. This is the Jewish way, it is the Torah way, it is the way of Kedusha, of holiness, and it is, certainly by example, the Gila way. Shabbat Shalom.